Look, I know we've not met yet, but I love you so much, Black Flame. Oh my god.
I'm sorry, I didn't see you there. I'm not ashamed in the slightest. But since you are there, let's talk about Wilds. Isn't that crazy? You thought I was going to say Wilds. Well, you were wrong. A while ago now, I did have a little talk about Black Flame and how I believe that him having a title, the Black Flame, versus something like Arkveld's the White Wraith was no coincidence. And we know that Arkveld is an extinct species and he has the White Wraith title. So I, posited that what if the Black Flame meant that him, a new flaming octopus tentacle Lord Gog, is also an extinct species. And then a few musings around and there within. And then a week ago now, I talked about subspecies, alternate versions of monsters in Wilds, what form they may or may not take, using the history of Monster Hunter games as at least some structure, some precedent, and ultimately we don't tend to get new versions of new monsters instantly, so we're kinda limited to new versions of old monsters, and that's not terribly exciting when you think about the possibility of, green congalala. The earlier gen versions of monsters weren't exactly pushing the boat out. So what if the alternate version of monsters that we get in Wilds or some kind of endgame based system like Afflicted or Tempered turns out to be more directly Arkveldy and Black Flame if indeed he is extinct species E? But I then, like a bolt of radar lightning, had a realization of something I have spoken about before, and something that I have long thought would be incredibly cool for a Monster Hunter game to have to do, and how for the first time it might be possible. So let me set the scene. Candles burning, sweet romantic music playing in the background, me and the Black Flame all alone. And then sorry, that's the wrong scene. I don't know how that happened. Oh god, what was that? No, this is how I'm going to paint the scene. I am going to play you a clip from a video I made 4 years ago. In June 2020, I talked about wyvern Rex, an extinct species who's the ancestor of all flying wyverns, and indeed him and his brethren and the existence already of extinct monsters as a concept that we have in lore and art books is something that came up in the Black Flame talk. This whole extinct species thing has precedent. It's not completely new out of nowhere with Arkveld, which is particularly exciting to me. But I digress. This is what I said 4 years ago. So if he was to be actually resurrected, as it were, and put in game, maybe some sort of secret underground ecosystem excavated, a hole chipped away into the ground, maybe the fallout of some other battle, maybe, I don't know, a creature that can move the rock and sink mountains, I don't know, something along those lines. Maybe we've uncovered a whole new subterranean zone where monsters long thought to be extinct still roam. That would be very, very cool. Maybe there could be a lake there that swims the ancient serpent we talked about from last time. But through the trees and the forest found within, wyvern Rex still prowls. So, wink wink, nudge nudge, in Wilds, ooh. And you see it, right? It could totally happen. Arkveld's existence opens a crack in that door of possibility. There is a glimmer of potential that the Black Flame and his potential extinct speciesness adds to. And look, I think this is something that is incredibly cool as a concept, and it wouldn't be surprising if Capcom agree, and indeed all of you guys agree, because I think just kind of objectively, it's an incredibly cool concept, right? It is a concept that lots of things have done. Oh, we found a secret area where things are alive that shouldn't be alive. You know, a cheeky bit of Monster Hunter Dawn of the Dinosaurs, Monster Hunter The Lost World, Monster Hunter Hollow Earth Edition. I think it's incredibly appealing because if we accept that Monster Hunter paints this ecologically believable natural world, well, that the animals we currently see, hunt, and hide from are the current day forms of evolved creatures that have ancestry tracing back however long. And then the exciting question becomes, okay, well, if a frickin' Tigrex is how it is now, what the hell was, I don't know, ancient Tigrex like? Well, Wyvern Rex being the perfect example, a Tigrex but turned up to 11. That's a kind of simple step up, it's just Tigrexia, and you don't technically need it to be an extinct species for that, you could just say that this is, you know, Super Tigrex, kind of like Molten and Brute. But that does kind of give you the idea. We've seen the chickens. Now let's see the velociraptors. That is a fun concept. So what if in Wilds, Arkveld isn't unique, as I posited with the addition of the Black Flame? But what if it goes beyond that? What if we actually get to and build to this idea of ancient monsters being realified? That we actually do have, finally, Monster Hunter exploring this almost classic trope of secret hidden area of the world that we thought there was nothing in, we're finally checking it out, and whoa! It's been unchanged for millions of years! It's, of course, pushing it a little bit, but it's something that I think would be really, really fun. But the reason the subspecies talk really struck a chord with me when working it into what I wanted to say today is in that I did say that, yeah, what if extinct species are a thing? But when I said that in my mind, I was like, okay, so we've got Arkveld, who's an extinct species, we've got the Black Flame, who's an extinct species, we get Bajumbalum, who's an extinct species, and so on and so forth. And, you know, they might be technically an extinct species, but they're still just a new original monster, so it's like, okay, cool, you could technically label them anything. Sure, I believe that it is a monster that used to live and somehow is back, but in terms of practicalness, it doesn't necessarily need to be. And what do I mean by that? Well, it's not like we have a modern Arkveld, a modern Black Flame, a modern Bajimbablom to compare it to. And that's when the light bulb moment hits relative to what I talked about 4 years ago. Imagine a world, or I guess imagine a Wilds, where the alternate versions of monsters, or even perhaps weaving it into endgame challenging stuff, is, hey, we have Rathalos, because of course we have Rathalos, and then Rathalos always gets new versions because it's Rathalos, so here is, surprise, Ancient Rathalos. Ooh, that's fucking fun. I imagine it's unlikely to happen that directly, but I think that that would be a really interesting thing to do, and a really fun take on Monster Hunter. The Forbidden Lands are really set up in a way that feels so much, as I keep saying, raw and more primal than we've ever seen, with the monsters, I mean, feeling monstrous. And when you look at animals, but they're a lot more monstrous, kind of dinosaurs and large, vicious, extinct predators kind of come to mind. When you see a tiger, you don't think, ah, monster. But when you see a saber-toothed tiger, you probably could get away with, ah, monster. And that seems to be the kind of tone that Wilds is oozing. And when you have this land of mysteries with such lush, vibrant environments, and there's still so much we don't know, it really does feel like anything is possible. So essentially today, what I really wanted to convey is, hey, this thing I said 4 years ago, combined with the topics that I have been talking about in recent weeks and what we know with Wilds, it's both A, not actually outside the realm of possibility for the first time in Monster Hunter, and B, would be really cool if what Wilds gives us is versions of monsters just en masse that are ancient versions of what we know. And hell, you could even do it the other way round. Put in modern versions of monsters we already know are extinct species. The main precedent for this is something like Malzeno, right? We got Malzeno, the flagship, and he existed as him, the Elder Dragon, cool. But then Primordial Malzeno comes along and announces that no, he's actually Malzeno. That's what Malzenos are by default. This variant is actually real normal Malzeno, and the Malzeno we know is the variant all bloodied up with the Curio losing himself. So what if we had that but flipped with the next flagship after Malzeno with Arkveld, and then it's like, oh, this is actually modern Arkveld. So we do get that old and new comparison. I think it would be a little bit redundant in literally Wild's launch, but I could see some sort of Master Rank expansion kind of adding that in as a way to expand on this notion. I mean, I'd give all of this like a 5% chance of happening. Before Black Flame came out, I would have given it like a 0.1% chance of happening, but hey, I will take those numbers. Bottom line, I am just copiuming my way through this, but I have always wanted to have a prehistoric Monster Hunter because it's perfect. It just marries seamlessly. Of course you would want that. And the precedent is there with the confirmed lore existence of extinct species now actually getting some semblance of, realization in Wilds. It might happen. And that, I think, is phenomenal. Bottom line, I totally, more than anything, would love to see them come up with designs that are the ancient ancestors of current-day monsters that we know. Give us the dinosaur versions of your Tigrex, of your rathalos, hell, of your congalala and your yian kutku, because we know we've got them, and that's how you give them one hell of an alternate version. I think that would be so much fun. I can dream, can't I? Honestly, you can hear my voice. I have such a smile on my face. It would be so cool. Oh my god. In any case, let me know what your thoughts are on all this, the likelihood of it happening, and if you even would like it to happen. Really make extinct species as a concept the core focus and big narrative, of a Monster Hunter game, and if that would be right for Wilds. For now then, like if you enjoyed this, subscribe and hit the bell for more, consider supporting the future of the channel on Patreon down below, and until we meet again, a goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.